This is lesson 4, Wednesday 2-3. We're taking a look at rationalizing with binomials. So we've talked about a different type of rationalizing already. This type of rationalizing using the conjugate is only for when the denominator has two terms. So we're talking about not just one single term, like we did last week, but two terms, a binomial. So if I have 1 over 5 plus the square root of 3, I clearly have a radical in the denominator. So what we're going to do is we're going to rationalize by multiplying top and bottom by the conjugate. The conjugate of 5 plus the square root of 3 is 5 minus the square root of 3. And this is a really easy one. In the numerator, we're just multiplying 1 times these. So we are distributing. They don't put these in parentheses, but it'd be a really good idea to put any binomials in parentheses just to help you remember to distribute. So 1 times all of this is just itself. So that numerator is just going to be 5 minus the square root of 3. But in the denominator, I clearly have a conjugate. And here the conjugate is a squared minus b squared. So 5 squared minus the square root of 3 squared would be 25 minus 3, or 22. And there's my final range. And that's, in essence, what it is. And I know some of us, the period yesterday, we talked about that already. I just wanted to do a couple of these, especially leading into that last one, numbers 25, 24. I'm going to do a few odds. For homework, you were only doing the evens, and that's in the directions. So something like maybe 33. Let's just do a couple of these together. I have 9 over the square root of 3 plus the square root of 7. Clearly, it's a binomial, so I'm going to use the conjugate, top, both by top and bottom. So in the numerator, I distribute. I have 9 square root of 3 minus 9 square root of 7. When I multiply 9 in. And then here I have a conjugate, so it's going to be a squared, square root of 3 squared, minus the square root of 7 squared. A squared minus b squared. Now we know squares cancel out square roots, so this is easy. It just becomes 3 minus 7. So I have 9 square root of 3 minus 9 square root of 7 over negative 4. Now this is an acceptable answer. I don't like having a negative down here. As mathematicians, it just looks a little messy. So I'm going to pull the negative out and kind of apply it to the numerator. And the easiest way to think of this is just change every sign. So if I pull this negative out down here and I apply it to both parts of the numerator, it becomes negative 9 square root of 3 plus 9 square root of 7 over positive 4. It's much cleaner. And really all that happened is every single term changed signs. Positive to negative, second term negative to positive, the fourth term negative to positive. So just change all the signs to get rid of that negative. I really would like to see you do that. Probably won't take any points off if you leave the negative down there, but it just looks messy. Let's take a look at number 21. I have 4 over 5 plus the square root of 5x squared. First of all, I see something that can simplify. And, I mean, I can do that. Let's just leave it be for now and do the conjugate. So I have 5 minus the square root of 5x squared. And I'm going to distribute. It gives me 20. Minus 4 is an outside number, 5x squared is an inside number, I'll leave that alone. Down here I have 5 squared, a squared, minus b squared, the square root of 5x squared, squared. Again, we know that the square root is just going to cancel out there. So my denominator becomes 25 minus, cancels out, 5x squared. So what I have is 20 minus 4 square roots of 5. Now that x squared, I can take the square root of that, it just becomes x. So there's a little simplifying to do. Over 25 minus 5x squared. There's really nothing else I can do to simplify. I'm also going to do 25. And again, if you know what you're doing, you don't have to watch this. I just wanted to do another one. But we haven't done one like 25, so I mean, it would be good to see this. Because the numerator also has a binomial. So I have this stuff here. go, I want to multiply top and bottom by the conjugate. 3 square root of 2 minus the square root of 3. 3 square root of 2 minus the square root of 3. And I put everything in parentheses once again just to help us remember to distribute. So now we have a lot of distributing to do. So let's just take our time and distribute. I have 12, square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just 2. And then I have 4 on the outside and the square root of 6 on the inside. Let's distribute inside. 9, square root of 2. And then 3, square root of 3. Just watch yourselves. None of those are like terms, so there's really nothing that's going to combine there. But anyway, so then I come down here and I distribute. But that's a conjugate rule, so we're going to do the 3 square root of 2 squared minus the square root of 3 squared. So that becomes 9. Square root of 2 squared is just 2. Square root of 3 squared is just 3, so what I have is 18 minus 3, or 15. So let's clean it up. 12 times 2 is 24. Minus 4 square root of 6 plus 9 square root of 2 minus 3 square root of 3, all over 18 minus 3, which is 15. And I almost have something that reduces because everything's divisible by 3 except for this 4. If that 4 is also divisible by 3, I could divide every number, outside number, by 3 and reduce that. But that's about all we can do. All right, you can go ahead and do those evens, those 6 even problems about the rational.